Hi, this is the business guy with Asset Protection Planners and Lawyers Limited. Would you like to set up an LLC and hide your ownership? Do you want to make sure your name isn't written all over your LLC for people who want to sniff around to sue you? Now, if you already have one or more LLCs, maybe it's just too late for those companies and you'll have to set up new ones. That's because once your name is on the companies, it's game over. Even if you change the manager, your name still appears on the history of the company and people can still tie you to it. Say you have 10 different LLCs all with your name. Each one owns a different rental property. Somebody sees that you have 10 LLCs, and the next thing the lawyer says is, "Cowabunga, we've got somebody with deep pockets. Let's go after him or her." So we're talking about how to hide your ownership of your LLCs so nobody else knows you own them but you. I've been in the asset protection from lawsuits field since 1991 and bring you my personal experience. Our company started in 1906. We have attorneys on staff and have employees nationwide. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please click the like button below and enter your comments. And you can also click the subscribe button if you haven't already, so that when more videos come out like this, you'll be up to date right away. So here's an example of where owning your LLC privately can save you a ton of money and a bunch of headaches. I have a friend of mine, he lived in New Jersey at the time. He had a building violation on one building. Next thing you know, the inspector is looking in the public records to see what other companies he owns. Then all of a sudden, that inspector is slapping all kinds of violations and fines on the rest of his properties. What we really want is a Chinese firewall between you and your companies. And that is why we want to be sure that when you set up your LLC, it doesn't have your name all over it. Maybe you've already made a mistake like this. Now, there are some new FinCEN ownership reporting requirements, but I read the laws and that reporting is very private and for law enforcement purposes only. So I'm not talking about hiding from the government. I'm talking about hiding ownership from some scoundrel who wants to sue you. Say you already set up an LLC and you look in the public records and the whole world can see that you're a manager. In some states, they can also see you're a member. Attorneys looking for people with deep pockets know it's you who's conducting the business. Say you have several LLCs. Now that gets somebody's attention. They call an attorney and that attorney needs to put food on his family's table, so he stays up until 1 in the morning writing legal papers with your name on it. Why? What do all these companies mean to third parties? It means you, as the owner, has deep pockets. So when you lay a foundation that secures your wealth, one of the first important elements is to ensure that the casual observer doesn't know what you have. It is on a need-to-know basis, not a put-on-a-show basis. And that is the mistake that so many business people make when they set up a limited liability company, and that is because they are professionals who may know their own business, but simply don't know what they're doing from a legal and asset protection perspective. They simply don't know where they're vulnerable and where the risks are that can lead them wide open to financial plunder. So what do we do? How do we create an LLC where their information is private? And it is remarkable how simple it really is to set up a legal tool where your name will never show up. That way, a hungry contingent fee attorney will never track your scent. So what we do for clients is we either set up a Wyoming LLC or, much better yet, a NEVIS LLC. That's N-E-V-I-S, which is a Caribbean island. And it has much better privacy and protection from lawsuits than any U.S. LLC. We can also do this in Nevada and Delaware as well. But NEVIS has much better benefits at a very reasonable cost. For example, before somebody sues you in NEVIS, to try to get assets from inside the LLC, in NEVIS, they'd have to post a bond. The bond could be $100,000, $200,000, whatever the court decides. No U.S. company has this tremendous barrier to suing for your LLC assets. Through NEVIS, LLC assets are protected right away, and after 2 years, the courts will refuse to even hear a challenge that your creditor puts forth to try to get your assets that you moved inside the company. Even if a creditor wins, they cannot force you to turn over your LLC assets. They can't take your LLC away from you. And that charging order they got against you vanishes after 3 years and can't be renewed. In the US, it's 20 to 24 years. And since we're talking about LLC privacy, we have nominee managers who have no true control, but people contract our services to put our nominee name in the public records so nobody knows you own the company but you. Now, NEVIS, Wyoming, and Nevada impose no income taxes, so there's just the federal tax and whatever taxes you have to pay in your state. A one-person LLC offers charging order protection so that when somebody sues you, there are provisions in the law where nobody can take the company away from you or the assets inside. Now, they're not as strong as international asset protection trusts that we establish, but they are one of the strongest forms of asset protection short of an offshore trust. NEVIS, Wyoming, Nevada, and Delaware all allow us to set up your company with a nominee manager, which keeps your name private. Now, with U.S. companies, a new law says that you have to report your ownership to FinCEN, so they will know that you're tied to your company, but it's not public information. So your NEVIS company owns all of your other companies, and nobody knows that you have multiple LLCs. And that's how you keep your privacy and keep the legal hyenas at bay. So how does it work? Here's how. First, call us and have us set up a NEVIS LLC. Then ask us to set up a nominee manager so your guy over here serves as your nominee manager. And then we have an agreement where you're in the driver's seat and the nominee has no control over your company. Once we set up your NEVIS LLC, that NEVIS LLC can act as manager of all of your other LLCs in any state. So you have your California LLC, New York LLC, Florida, Texas, Illinois, Georgia, or whatever. And they all point back to your private NEVIS LLC. So we set up all of the rest of your LLCs in the US. With member-managed LLCs in many states, you must list the members. That member is your NEVIS LLC. In almost all states, you need to list a manager. The manager of all of your LLCs is also your NEVIS LLC. So in most cases, check with your CPA, the income flows through all the companies, and you simply report the income and expenses on your personal tax returns. So with this setup, some potential litigant or creditor snooping around won't be able to know you're associated with the companies. They can search for your name in the state's database, and they'll find nothing with your name on it associated with any LLC in any state. Nobody knows you're part of any of the companies. So let's say they're looking at this company right here, and this LLC has a property in it, like a client who just called us recently. Their tenant said there was mold on the property, and the tenant said she and her sons were not feeling very well. They get a hold of an attorney who wants to know who's behind it. Well, too bad for them. It's not going to be you, because you called us and had us set up a private NEVIS LLC without your name all over it. So even if they try to find your name in NEVIS, the NEVIS government says, sorry, we don't reveal owners here for civil legal cases. Too bad. So you're the one who has 100% of the control, but your opponent won't find that in the public records. So now what we've done for you is we've created the perfect structure where your NEVIS LLC, that is one NEVIS LLC, can provide nearly unlimited privacy for every other LLC that you own, and we can set these all up for you. So there is no income taxes on NEVIS LLCs that operate outside of NEVIS. An LLC is tax neutral, so it does not increase or decrease your U.S. taxes. And it all starts by getting on the phone or filling out a free consultation form at assetprotectionplanners.com and having us set up the NEVIS LLC. Then you can have us structure as many U.S. LLCs as you want that are all under your NEVIS LLC umbrella. So that's the answer to how you hide your ownership of your LLCs and own them privately. Please click like, subscribe, and share this video with others. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. This is The Business Guy.